Hi, guys. Okay, we're going to talk about representation of distribution today and to see if something is representative of the data that was either gathered or given or collected or whatnot. So let's look at this example for a minute here. So we have a magazine publishes student poetry and is accepting poems from 3 different high schools. So they have this little, I don't want to say contest because I don't feel like it is, but they want students to submit poetry, right? So from high school A, it looks like, helps if I could spell high school. From high school A, it looks like 40 poems are submitted from them. 64 poems are submitted from high school B, and 24 poems are submitted from high school C. So B, it looks like, submitted the most poems. So what this magazine wants to do is they want to publish poems that is representative of the distribution of the poems. So C submitted the least amount of poems at 24. So what they want is in their magazine spread or whatever, they don't want the majority of the poems to come from high school C because they didn't submit as many poems as A or B. They want B to be more representative because 64 poems were submitted from that high school, which is the biggest number we have, right? So what we want to see is we want to make sure it's an even distribution. So let's just give them some percentages. So let's say 64 of the poems, that's 82%. So we want to make sure that 82% of the poems that we put into the magazine are from high school B. And then let's say 8% was from high school C. So then 8% of the magazine poems are going to be from high school C, and then the last 10% would be from A. Okay. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So let's talk about it. So what would be the fairest way for the editor to do this? So let's look at what percentages we're talking about here. So let's see. In order to figure out what a percentage of something is, we need to take the total number of things. So we have 40 poems from high school A, 64 from high school B, and 24 from high school C. So we add all those guys together. What do we got? 40, 64, and 24. So this is 128 poems total. Okay. So I just pulled out some percentages before when we were just talking about it, but let's actually figure out the percentages here. So from high school A, so I'm going to call this high school A, 40 of the 200 or 128 poems are from them. So let's do 40 divided by 128, and I get 0.3125, which I hope we know is 31.25% at this point in the game, which I'm sure you guys do know. Okay, now let's look at high school. Let's see, can you read that? Yeah, high school B. They had 64 of the 28. So 64 of 28. I'm sorry, 28. 128 is 50. So 50%. And then last but not least, high school C. So high school C has 24. All right, 24 of 128. And we get 0.1875. So that is 18.75%. If I add these percentages up, I should get 100, which I do. So we're good there. Okay. So it doesn't, like, yeah, high school B submitted the most, but we don't want to look at these options that they're giving us and say, oh, high school B had the most in this one, so this is the answer, because it wants to be an accurate representation. It wants it to be 50% from high school B and 31.25 from high school A and 18.75 of the poems that are published from high school C. Okay, so all we have to do on this guy, I'm trying to figure out what the best way for you guys to see all this is. We'll just do one of these options at a time. So we need to figure out what each of these are. So we are going to figure out if they did this option, how many poems would they be publishing? 5, 8, and 6. So what is that? 19 poems. So they got 19 poems total. Okay. Let's see what A is. A has 5 poems from high school A. So 5 of the 19. That is 26.316%. Okay, not equal. So we can say that, bang, is not our answer. Okay. All right, now let's try high school C. I'm running out of colors. All right, so we have 8, 16, and 4. So that's 28 options. So 28 options. And let's start with A. So A is 8 of 28. And that is 28.57. That's pretty close, but not quite there, okay? So I'm just going to make this, when you have the multiple choice options, especially when you're working on your ACT, SAT, it is like an average of a minute per question. So you got to find ways to get through these guys fast. So for this, for something like this, you have to work through the options that are given to you in order to find out if this scenario is true, right? So I'm just going to do option A. And if I find one that matches, fantastic. I'm going to check B and C just to make sure. But if I don't, then I'm going to go back and kind of look, okay, what happened? Did I make a mistake? Is there one that's really close to 31.25 but not exact? So all that kind of stuff, okay? So by no means am I saying like you're always going to get 31.25 and you just have to check this one part and you're done. It's just a little hint on how to get through the questions quicker because you're going to need those shortcuts for ACT, SAT time. Okay, so for C, 20, 22, and 12, I add all those guys together. I get 54 magazines. Option A is 20 of those. So 20 of 54, that's 37. So we're a little too high on that one. Okay, let's check D. Okay, so we got 15 plus 24 plus 9. So we have 48 magazines. And 15 is from 40. 15 of those 48. Oh, 31.25. That's great. That matches, right? That matches what I needed. So let's, Lord, hold on. Hopefully you guys don't get motion sickness. Okay. So let's check the other ones too. So high school, 24 of the 48 is high school B. So that is 50%. And then high school C is 9. So let's do 9 of 48. 9 of 48 is 18.75. So that works. So D is the best option. If I didn't quite get like this and this number to be correct, then I would go back up and check the other percentages and see which one model's closest. But honestly, they're going to match, especially at this level. So it would be a good representation. I'm trying to think. Just with this specific example, they did have 50% was B. So you could check B really quickly if like you didn't have a calculator or something like that. You could check 8 of 19, nope. 16 of 28, nope. 22 of 54 is not 50%. So that's another way you can kind of quickly go through that problem. Okay, I think, that is it for representation of distribution.